Hey everyone, and welcome to AMC Movie Talk. Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm Chrisley Kennedy, and this is the show where we bring you the day's biggest movie news, and of course, we give you insight into what it all means. Joining me, as always, is AMC Movie News Senior Editor, Mr. John Campia.
Greetings and salutations, everybody. Good morning, Chrisley. Yes, today I'm here to officially announce that Karl Urban is your next Batman. Actually, no. Here's a quick story. For giggles, I put up this picture of me and Karl Urban. I'll give it to Dennis so he can put it up on screen. Put up this picture of me and Karl Urban. And I kid you not, the number of emails I got after that, I didn't even think about this, the number of emails I got from people asking, whoa, is this your way of saying Karl Urban's going to be Batman? It's like, no, as far as I know, Karl Urban is going to be Batman. It's just a picture.
You were playing a little Vin Diesel on Facebook yesterday, weren't
Maybe,
you?
yeah. Unknowingly.
Also joining us in studio today is AMC's Associate Editor, Miss Amy Rose Eisenbach.
Good morning. I'm so happy that Karl's going to be a Batman. all my dreams have come true. Let's do this.
Actually, he's going to be Robin, and I'm going to be Batman. But hey, listen, folks. By the way, we have been announcing for the last couple of days. She's got it here. We're giving away 4 of these Kick-Ass 2 hoodies, and today was the day that we were going to announce the winners. But we're not, because there were so many hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of you guys sent in these pictures, and so many of them are so good. I need one extra day to keep going through them all. So tomorrow, I promise, tomorrow we will announce the winners of the Kick-Ass 2 hoodies. So sorry that they're not today, but it will be tomorrow. Thanks for your patience.
All right, let's get started. For the last year, we've heard so much speculation about who will be in the Expendables 3 that it's hard to know what we're going to talk about now that the speculation is over. In an official press release from Lionsgate, the studio has announced production on Expendables 3 is now underway, and they gave us a full cast rundown as well. The press release gave us the following. The Expendables 3 will feature Sylvester Stallone, Jason Statham, Jet Li, Dolph Lundgren, Randy Couture, Terry Crews, and Arnold Schwarzenegger returning to their roles from the first 2 films, with Wesley Snipes, Antonio Banderas, Mel Gibson, and Harrison Ford joining the all-star cast, along with Kellen Lutz, MMA star Ronda Rousey, welterweight boxing champion Victor Ortiz, and Glenn Powell. In The Expendables 3, Barney, played by Stallone, Christmas, played by Statham, and the rest of the team comes face-to-face with Conrad Stonebanks, played by Gibson, who years ago co-founded The Expendables with Barney. Stonebanks subsequently became the ruthless arms trader and someone who Barney was forced to kill, or so he thought. Stonebanks, who eluded death once before, now is making it his mission to end the Expendables, but Barney has other plans. Barney decides that he has to fight old blood with new blood and brings in a new era of Expendables team members, recruiting individuals who are younger, faster, and more tech-savvy. The latest mission becomes a class of classic old-school style versus high-tech expertise in the Expendables' most personal battle yet. John, what do you make of the cast list and the synopsis for the Expendables 3?
I like the cast list. I've liked the casting rumors that we've heard. I like it as it's all been coming together. I love the addition of Harrison Ford. It's a shame about the whole Bruce Willis fiasco that happened with him not being there anymore and all that kind of stuff. But, Wesley Snipes being in there, perfect guy to throw in. I like seeing Ronda Rousey. Kellen Lutz is an interesting choice to be in there as well. What is really jumping out to me are the names that are missing. Jackie Chan, number 1, because we heard, Stallone was tweeting that he's going to get him and Jackie Chan, and I guess last minute they just couldn't make the scheduling work. Because I know Chan had been mentioning there were some other things he was trying to work around his schedule to do it. I guess they weren't able to work that out. I'm really disappointed to not see Jackie Chan. Because to see Jackie Chan and Jet Li in there together would have been fantastic. Also, Nick Cage. Nick Cage was a name that was thrown around a lot. I know for a fact that Stallone was trying to pursue him to get him in there. I can only assume it must have been a scheduling thing to make that work out. Early on, the name Clint Eastwood was thrown around.
That would have been great.
That would have been really interesting. And obviously he's not there. And also Mila Jovovich. Was a name that even right up until recently was being batted around as someone who's probably going to be there, and now she's not. So these are great names, no surprises, because we've heard all these names were going to be there. But yeah, conspicuous by their absence, Jackie Chan, Nick Cage, Clint Eastwood, Mila Jovovich, and of course Bruce Willis, but we know why he's not there. So, but overall, I'm excited about this. The Expendables are guilty pleasures of mine. I was okay with the first one. I really had fun with the second one, so I hope they keep ramping it up for the third one as well. I'm looking forward to it. How about you, Amy Rose?
Yeah, my biggest disappointment from hearing this was definitely Mila Jovovich. I love her as Alice in Resident Evil, Fifth Element. Like, she is a babe and she's an action starlet. She's awesome, and I think that having some more, hot women in here. But Rhonda is a great choice. Again, same as we feel about Gina Carano. I don't know if she can act yet. Only time will tell. But she is a badass and she's beautiful, so definitely a good addition. I'm also upset, especially Nicolas Cage, for the men that are missing, because I just love him. I love him. I think he would have been a quirky, fun addition to an already great return of all these action stars. So it would have been fun, but the synopsis doesn't matter that much to me because, again, I'm not seeing this because I think it's going to be the most incredible plot. I'm seeing this because it's a fun popcorn blockbuster flick, great action, fun chemistry between all these old stars we love so much, and Stallone's great. And I'm really excited about Mel Gibson being the villain. Mad Max, getting him up in there is going to be great, and as an actor, not taking apart all his other, controversy surrounding him, as an actor, he's very talented, and I really like him, and I think he'll be a really good antagonist for the film. So it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and we've talked about this before, Miros, is that this film has the potential. Notice I'm using the word potential. I'm not saying this is going to happen. I'm saying it has the potential. For a guy like Mel Gibson, this has the potential to be his Tropic Thunder. What Tropic Thunder was to Tom Cruise. Because remember, up until Tropic Thunder, Tom Cruise was a joke. He was the punchline to everybody's joke because of all the stuff that was going on in his personal life, rightly or wrongly. But then he did Tropic Thunder as Les Grossman, just wacky, crazy, just doing something he never would have done before.
I loved it.
And all of a sudden, all was forgiven.
Yes.
And a role like this has the, once again, potential to help Mel Gibson a lot. If he goes really off the deep end in this movie, that could be awesome for him. So it'll be interesting to see how it works out.
You mean the beaver didn't do it for him?
Yeah, but this could be something. So let's keep our eyes on it and see how it turns out.
I love that this movie's bringing in all the action stars that I grew up with, and then throwing in like Kellen Lutz, who's someone newer and has the potential to be a great action star.
We'll see.
The upcoming Amazing Spider-Man 2 opens in AMC theaters everywhere on May 2nd, 2014, and for a while now, Sony Studios have been releasing a lot of still images from the production. However, the one released yesterday that has everyone talking isn't even a character in the movie. This image shows the side of a soundstage with the words Sinister 6 painted on it. Amy Rose, is this image pretty much a confirmation that the Spider-Man franchise is indeed building up to a Sinister 6 storyline?
Absolutely not. It is not a confirmation. I mean, we just learned that Carl Urban's Batman from a picture. We
on
don't,
my Facebook page.
Yes, we don't know until it's confirmed. I mean, we learned this with Vin Diesel. Apparently, he's going to be 5 Marvel characters coming up. Until it's confirmed by the director, by the studio, that it's happening. Until I see a Dr. Octopus confirmation, I'm just not going to assume. I mean, Electro is a really good step in the right direction of introducing the original Sinister Six, so it could lead that way. But again, it could just be a fun little nod to us. I mean, I just think that until it's confirmed, it could be misdirection. I mean, we've seen this with so many different studios, and we're always, at the front wondering what it means. So until it's locked in stone, on ink, whatever, in ink, then I'm just going to assume they could be getting in that general direction, but we'll see what actually ends up happening.
I think there's a lot of things that you would be forgiven as a fan if you were to assume that now that they're going towards Sinister Six. There has been a lot of stuff to suggest it building up, from Mark Webb's talks about how far they want to expand the Spider-Man universe, to talking about a lot of the original villains, and now seeing this painted. Look, if you're a conspiracy theorist, this is the biggest bullet in your chamber now. This big painted sign released by Sony, Sinister Six. This is the best bullet in your barrel, no doubt. But while you are now totally allowed to reasonably think, like I'm at the point now that I reasonably think we are heading in the direction of a Sinister Six, but as Amy Rose points out, don't start using that word confirmed, because it ain't confirmed.
Nope.
Amy Rose is absolutely right when she points out this could be misdirection, this could be whatever. It's all possible, but I think Amy Rose shares my feelings. I think we'd be surprised now if they didn't go on the route of Sinister Six, but let's not use that word confirmed yet because we just ain't there yet.
But John, if it's on the internet, it has to be true.
It must be true.
Has to be.
All right, folks, we reached that part of the show for buy and sell. Here's how this works. In front of her, Chris Lee has a few other items in the world of movie news in front of her. She's going to run them down, and Amy Rose and I are simply going to say whether we buy it or sell it. So, Chris Lee, what do we have?
A few years ago, it was announced that Disturbia director DJ Caruso was on board to direct a film version of the comic series Preacher. Preacher follows the story of a local minister who is accidentally possessed by an entity named Genesis, who is forbidden offspring of an angel and a demon. However, years have passed with no movement on the film. In a recent interview, Caruso said that he was still attached to direct the film, although no official green light has been given yet, and nothing is for certain. John, buy or sell DJ Caruso still being on board to direct a potential Preacher movie?
I'm going to have to sell it. I think DJ did a great job with Disturbia, and he, of course, did that one with Shia LaBeouf. And, then he did Eagle Eye, I believe, with Shia LaBeouf. And then he was supposed to do Why the Last Man with Shia LaBeouf. There was talk about that for a very long time. I thought that could have been really interesting. He also did I Am Number 4. Which wasn't so great. Eagle Eye wasn't so great. And because of those things, I'm just not excited about Caruso at this point. Don't get me wrong. I'll definitely give it a chance if it happens. Preacher is a really interesting comic series, and it's going to take a very fine touch to do it right. And I'll give Caruso a chance. But for now, for me, it's a sell.
I'm going to buy it. I do think he has potential. I liked I Am Number 4. I liked Disturbia. I think that he has talent. I don't think he's not a name that I would throw in, amongst my favorites by any means, but I do think he has talent, and it's more about the comic book series Preacher to me here. It's so good. It's such a fun one, and I think that he would do a pretty solid job, but I really don't think there's much hope. If it's not greenlit, but he's still attached to a project that doesn't exist yet, I don't know. So we'll see, but I want to give him the benefit of the doubt here.
The brand new comic series Daymen, which just debuted at Comic-Con, has been picked up by Universal Pictures to be developed into a feature film. For thousands of years, the world has been controlled by the 50 Families, a secret network of vampire covens engaged in timeless contests of power. But when the sun rises, the vampires are forced to employ the services of a human who acts as their daytime fixer. Trained for centuries to be the mortal soldiers' employers, the Daymen go forth at sunrise alone into the world to do the bidding of their sleeping benefactors. Amy Rose, buy or sell the sounds of Daymen?
I'm in a good mood. I'm going to buy this.
Yeah.
It sounds like Godfather with vampires, like all these families fighting for power, and then they're Daymen. I just hope they don't go comical with this. I hope it's like a battle, badass, and we love our vampires, don't we? So I hope they show it gruesome and really fun battle.
I'm going to sell it. Now, this does sound interesting, and the mythology sounds cool. I love this whole notion of the 50 families. I haven't read the comic book yet myself, by the way. And so that's a big part in why I'm going to sell this, because I'm tired of vampire stuff, especially with the way Hollywood treats vampires these days. They're all beautiful, young, blah, blah. I don't want fun in my vampires. I want brutality in my vampires.
That's what I'm saying.
I want monsters. I want just these, what vampires used to be. That's what I want. Now, maybe that's what is in the comic. And you know what? I'm gonna get on my comics app today. I'm gonna download this thing, and I'm gonna give it, if it's available for download, I'm gonna give this thing a read. Maybe I'll change it into a buy, but until I see it, it's a sell.
It sounds dark.
It's vampires. You always buy vampires, John. 3 more names have been added to the cast of the upcoming film, The Kitchen Sink. The storyline follows a human, a vampire, and a zombie as they band together to take on an alien invasion. Bob Odenkirk from Breaking Bad, Patton Oswalt from Big Fan, and Ian Roberts from Arrested Development are the latest names to join the cast of the Sony Pictures film. They'll join Joan Cusack, Dennis Leary, and Vanessa Hudgens. John, buy or sell the latest additions to The Kitchen Sink?
Buy. I'm so excited for this movie. A human, a zombie, and a vampire walk into a bar. I know I've said that before, but this sounds ridiculously fun. I know I just said I'm tired of vampires.
Yeah, come on.
And campy vampires.
A human, a vampire, and a zombie walk into a bar. Are you kidding me? This to take on an alien invasion? Plus, these additions, I love Patton Oswalt. I think ever since he did the voice of Ratatouille, I've just been a huge fan of Patton Oswalt.
I love him.
And of course, you got Saul in there, and you know what? I'm excited for this film already. It may end up being the worst film in cinematic history, but I'm still excited to see it. So for me, it's a buy.
Bye. You had me at Saul Goodman. Bob Odenkirk is so fantastic. I don't care if he's a one-trick pony and just does that for the rest of his life. I love him so much. I'm kidding. I want him to evolve, but he's so great. He was actually just in The Spectacular Now, and he was really solid in it in his short supporting role. Yeah, this sounds great, but I don't think this vampire is going to be gruesome and dark, John. I think it's going to be campy and fun.
I'm okay with this. Hey, speaking of Bob Odenkirk, here's an interesting little piece of trivia for you. Do you know that Odenkirk was the original guy cast to play Michael Scott in the American version of The Office?
That would have been awesome.
Yeah, and then it obviously went to Carell.
Yeah, but now this sounds like a fun time. I'm excited for it.
A brand new international trailer for the upcoming Ridley Scott film, The Counsellor, has hit the web. The film stars Michael Fassbender, Penelope Cruz, Cameron Diaz, Javier Bardem, and Brad Pitt, and will open in AMC theaters everywhere on October 25th. Amy Rose, buy or sell this new trailer for The Counsellor?
Buy. I am so excited for this film. I mean, Ridley Scott is amazing. I'll forgive Prometheus, whatever. But this cast alone is incredible. I mean, just talk about getting A-list talent. Cameron Diaz doesn't do it for me that much, but if she has the right script, the right direction, I think she can hold her own. I mean, but you had me at Fassbender, Penelope, Javier, Brad Pitt, so I'm really excited for this, and this is a genre that I'm really into, and I'm happy to see Ridley go back to kind of the dramatic thriller.
Big buy. Yeah. This movie looks ridiculously good. I mean, and you know, you look at the list of the cast, and you hope it's good. You look at who the director is, so you have reason to hope that it's good. But then you see the trailer, and you see it really coalescing, and it's all coming together. The tone of it is beautiful. Yeah. The temperature of it is great. I think it looks. I even think, you know, when I first saw pictures of it, I thought Javier Bardem was Robert Downey Jr. When I first saw just the still images, really? I thought, oh, it's Robert Downey Jr. in this. I was like, oh my gosh, that's Javier Bardem. This trailer this just looks fantastic. It's got Oscar contender written all over it. I haven't seen it yet, so just let me give that disclaimer. But I'm very excited for it. So
it's a contender.
Confirmed. So yeah, for me, it's a big buy. All right, folks, we reached that part of the show for Mailbag. Listen, if you've got a topic or a question you'd like us to address on the show, you can email us anytime at amcmovietalk@gmail.com. Every day we pick a couple out of the mailbag and address them here. So Chris Lee's got a few messages pulled out. Chris Lee, what do we have?
Kevin G writes, hey guys and gals, love the show. My question today is, do you think the failure of Kick-Ass will be the nail in the coffin for the much talked about but seemingly never will be made Deadpool movie? Kick-Ass was a modestly budgeted R-rated superhero film, much like Deadpool would be, but it tanked, and we all know how Hollywood works and trends. Thanks for your time and keep up the stellar work.
I think there's a couple things to keep in mind here. First, let's not write off Kick-Ass as tanked yet. Did it do as well as I was hoping it would do? No. But the fact of the matter is, it is a $25 million budgeted film that made $20 million on its opening weekend worldwide. So roughly speaking, you want to make at least 1/3 of your budget on opening weekend, 1/3 to 1/2, and they've well exceeded that. So Kick-Ass is probably going to end up being a movie that probably actually ends up making a little bit of money for the studio. So let's not write it off as a bomb yet. However, you are right. It didn't do as well as probably they were hoping 6 months ago that it would do. And I don't know if it has to do with the Jim Carrey thing. Now let's remember, too, that the first Kick-Ass didn't do all that great at the box office either. But like you pointed out, it's modestly budgeted, so it didn't need to make much money in order to be profitable. And I think that's probably the situation going to come here. Now, would this hurt a Deadpool movie? Under normal circumstances, yes. I would say this hurts the chances of another R-rated superhero, yet comic and funny film. This would really hurt the chances of it. But in this particular circumstance, I think that Deadpool is probably already on the drawing board for the X-Force movie that Fox is reportedly trying to develop. It's not greenlit yet, but we know they're developing it, and I think they want to put Deadpool in that movie. And so I think if they are planning that, I don't think this hurts the chances of that happening at all. So that's how I kind of see it. Amy Rose, what's your perspective?
Yeah, I definitely don't think it helps because they're saying, you know, rated R comic book films, you know, obviously they shut out a lot of the audience that would want to see these films. And Kick-Ass did not deserve to be panned. I thought it was a really solid movie. It was a fun time. It really stayed in line with the first tone of the first film. So I thought it was really good. But Deadpool, I mean, we've talked about this a lot. If they don't make it rated R, I don't want to see it. This is a very violent, you know, very sarcastic, awesome character. And if they tone that down, it's not going to work. So I want it R or I don't want it at all. I don't think they did this. It's not the nail in the coffin, but I do think that, you know, all studios pay attention into this, and they would be like, okay, well, maybe the audience wasn't as large. And the whole Jim Carrey thing, maybe that hurt, but maybe it helped. Yeah. Maybe he pulled in, got a lot more eyeballs on this film because people were like, oh, I want to see it. And he was fantastic in the movie.
He was really good in it.
He was.
I love Jim Carrey in this movie, actually.
So I absolutely agree that he will be in X-Force. Obviously, he's one of the hot team members of that I can't even speak, hot team members of that. But yeah, I don't think it's the nail in the coffin. I do think they might, not get a standalone Deadpool film going without X-Force. And then if that's, accepted with open arms, then maybe we'll see it eventually. But I do think that studios pay attention and they might go off a little slower with the rated R films for comic book films.
Chris Carrick writes, greetings and salutations, John and all. Love the show. You guys have the best movie show on the internet or TV. Stay on the web. In light of your discussion about the importance of summer movie season for the studios, should I be worried that Captain America is being released next April? Does the studio have little confidence that Cap can compete against the summer blockbusters? Or do they simply want to have a drumbeat of movie releases every few months?
It's a great question, Chris. I would say, well, first of all, I don't think they lack confidence in Captain America. Captain America did quite well for them at the box office the first time around, and now obviously it's coming off the momentum of the Avengers. So they know wherever they put Captain America, it will do just fine. But let's not forget that they've been releasing the Iron Man films in early May. Early May, May 3rd is when they were been releasing. And that's kind of become, that first weekend of May has kind of become the unofficial start of the summer movie season. And so really, what are we talking? And they've had great success on that date. So what are we really talking about? We're really only talking about a difference of a couple of weeks. Really, this is just a couple of weeks earlier than what they've been used to releasing their films at. So I think it'll be fine. Plus, I think you're right, too, about the drumbeat. I think they want to have a certain pacing and a certain spacing between when that comes out and when Guardians of the Galaxy comes out. So I wouldn't be worried at all about it. I think if they weren't already releasing films and have a successful track record of releasing their films in early May, maybe we might scratch our heads a bit, but this is really not much of a difference. I think they'll be just fine. I don't think they lack confidence at all. Amy Rose?
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that they're just trying to dominate the summer and all the way to the holidays, and I think they're doing a fantastic job at that. And this isn't, Captain America, the first film. This is the second. There's already built an audience. People love Chris Evans. I love him. When he was first cast, I wasn't sure if I like him as Cap, but I love him as Cap. So I definitely am really excited about this film. And April, I feel like it really kicks off summer. I feel that way about Coachella Music Festival. When that hits, it's like, oh wow, summer is here. And so I kind of feel like they're just expanding their reach even further, and like John said with Iron Man in May, they're just kind of making sure that that we're here to dominate and that the movie's going to do really well. So I don't think it's any cause for alarm.
Gerard C. writes, I know similar questions get asked, but I was wondering, why did Batman Begins and Star Trek get sequels to their movies when they have made about as much as Pacific Rim? However, a Pacific Rim sequel is very unlikely, even though it is making ground in international markets. Is it because Batman and Star Trek have source material to work with and or established fandoms?
Once again, fair question. It should be pointed out, too, at this point, that as of now, Pacific Rim has been doing quite well, especially in China.
Overseas, yeah.
I've always said that Pacific Rim, because of its budget and its marketing budget and the back-end deals they signed and all this kind of stuff, that it was going to have to make around just under $400 million to break even. Well, guess what? They're there. They're at about 385 million, which is right around where I said they would have to be to break even. So I think we can officially say at this point that Pacific Rim, while not a big moneymaker, has broken even. So, that's a lot better than losing $150 million. But why do films like Star Trek or Batman Begins, let's look at Batman Begins, made roughly the same amount of money. But one of the key differences is that they made Batman Begins for about $50 or $60 million less than they made Pacific Rim for. So it was profitable a long time ago, before the pace of Pacific Rim. But the other key thing to keep in mind is this: when talking about sequels. When talking about sequels, remember, the studios has to ask themselves, if we make another one, can that one make as much or more money? Because the studios are not in the business of trying to break even. And when they look at Pacific Rim, they see, okay, it's got a core audience. It still hasn't made $100 million in North America, which just astounds me. But they say, do we have a big enough audience, and did people like it enough that if we do another one, more people will go out to see it and it will make more money? And I think they have a question mark about that. Because while it's got like a 70% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, not everybody really loved Pacific Rim. Now, I put it in my top 3 favorite films of the summer so far. I know Dennis did too, and so did Schnepp, what we did on Mailbag the other day. But there are a lot of people who had some serious and legitimate complaints. Like I've said myself, even though it's in my top 3 favorite films of the summer, the best writing of Guillermo del Toro, this was not. The best storytelling of Guillermo del Toro's career, this was not.
But great monsters.
But great monsters. It was great spectacle, right? But a lot of people want more than that, and they didn't get the warm reception. Now, you look at the first Star Trek remake, and you look at Batman Begins. Not only were they successful, not only did they already have pre-existing audiences, people loved those movies. There was actually Oscar buzz for the first Star Trek film. I mean, these were films that had built-in audiences and people loved them, and the studio could sit back and say with confidence, if we make another one of these Star Trek movies, or if we make another one of these Batman Begins movies, we feel confident they will make even more money than the first one did. Whereas I don't know that they have that same confidence with Pacific Rim, nor do I think they should have the same confidence, as much as I loved it, with Pacific Rim. So I think those are the big differences there. Amy Rose, how do you see it?
Brand equity, Batman, Star Trek. I mean, these names, these franchises have so much power. And, it really does come down to budget to grossing. I mean, if Kick-Ass, the reason that first film was so successful is because the budget wasn't that large, and it just kept growing and gaining momentum. And same with Pacific Rim. But it's not a question really of source material here, because Guillermo has no problem. While this might not have been his best script, he has the most incredible, beautiful imagination, and I have great confidence that maybe he would nip the first issues in the bud and kind of take the story to the next. Not like, again, you're seeing this movie because it has the most incredible plot.
Right.
You're seeing it because he's amazing at this. His monsters and his armory of he's just amazing. He's one of my faves. But I definitely think that it just comes down to brand equity. I mean, Batman Begins, that was the first of the Nolan trilogy, and I think that what they could do with this property, and they were right in their predictions. The Dark Knight made even more money. The Dark Knight Rises made even more money. And like Star Trek, while the second one maybe did not make as much as they hoped because it was pretty much on par with the first one, we definitely attributed that to marketing and the way they lacked in that department, and I think they learned a lot from that as well. So I definitely think it comes down to their bread and butter properties, and what it means to have these properties continue to be on the big screen for their thousands and thousands of fans. So I don't think they'll stop anytime soon. And as you mentioned, Pacific Rim is crushing it overseas, and it's not, unlikely to think that a sequel definitely might happen. They might just tone the budget down a little bit, which I know Guillermo wouldn't be too happy about, but you can still make a decent film at $100 million, just saying.
All right, folks, well, that'll do it for us. Thank you so much for joining us. We've run all out of time. Listen, if you are not a subscriber yet to our AMC Movie News YouTube channel, take a second and click on that subscribe button, become a subscriber. It'll keep you up to date on everything going on in the world of movie news, and of course, our daily AMC Movie Talk show and our weekend AMC Mailbag show. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Facebook. If you want an audio-only version of the show, look in the description of this video. You'll find links to our iTunes and our Stitcher Radio, so you can just listen to us on your way to work. And listen, while we got you, don't forget that you can get your theater, showtime, and movie ticket information anytime by going over to www.amctheaters.com. A lot of great films in AMC theaters right now. Go on over and check one out. I want to thank, as always, first our lovely host, Miss Chris Lee Kennedy. Chris Lee, where can people find you online?
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Chris Lee, and thanks for all the love this week.
Also, our editor of movie news here at AMC Movie News, Miss Amy Rose Eisenbach. Amy Rose, where can people find you?
On Twitter at Amy Rosie. And one quick note, I finally saw Fruitvale Station.
Thank you.
Michael B. Jordan is so incredible, and I cannot wait to see what else he does with his career.
Yeah.
And my name's Sean Campia, so thanks a lot for joining us, folks. Until next time, for AMC Movie News, bye-bye.